Okay, I made you guys the cutest sourdough timeline to better help you understand the bread making process. I'm gonna quickly move out of the way so you can screenshot this, and then I'm gonna come back and explain it. This is specifically to explain the fermentation process, and specifically why bulk fermentation and proofing are not the same thing. So let's break this down. Feed our starter. Now it's doubled. It is time to use it. There are different methods of mixing your dough. So some people do the autolyse method where they mix their flour and water, let it sit for a certain period of time, then they add their starter into it. When you add the starter is when bulk fermentation starts. So if you mix all three of these together, the water, flour, starter, at the same time, bulk fermentation started. If you did autolyse and you just mixed flour and water, hasn't started yet. It starts when you add your sourdough starter to the dough. When you move on to like stretch and folds, that's where you strengthen the dough. This is also part of bulk fermentation. It started the minute you added that starter. So just remember, if you were trying to follow a recipe, for example, where it's telling you you need to bulk ferment for 5 hours, then that started the minute you put the starter in it. You do your stretch and folds, coil folds, basically any strengthening process would be included in here. Then you do the bulk rise, that's where you let it sit on the counter. All of that, starting with adding the starter to the recipe and the bulk rise, is all bulk fermentation. Now it has ended after the bulk rise. Proofing begins after the dough has been shaped and it's ready to ferment before it's baked. And it also includes any final proofing. So if you like to shape your dough and then still leave it on the counter for a little bit, that is all included in proofing. Also included in proofing is when you stick it in the fridge for a cold ferment. I am so guilty of this, but I will constantly say that bread is overproofed during the bulk fermentation process, but technically this isn't like the right terminology. If you haven't gotten to proofing yet and you're saying, oh no, my bread is overproofed, like technically speaking, that is not correct. I don't know that it really matters too much, but just for the sake of being accurate, overproofing would only happen after it's been shaped, because that's when the proofing process technically starts. Okay, I've been yapping for way too long, but hopefully that was helpful. You can drop your questions in the comment section. If you want me to do a follow-up video, I also can do that. I am just personally a visual learner. That's why I made this. I feel like it kind of helps better break down the different processes and like what stage they fall in. If you want to post this or share this elsewhere, I am okay with that. I would just really appreciate if you give me credit. I have my username for here and YouTube at the bottom of the picture, but